Hi, howdy, and welcome back to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio. And tonight we have a longtime supporter of the channel and somebody that I talk to quite regularly that's on here for the first time. Before we get to that, I'd just like to remind everybody, but you may notice that there is no sponsor on this channel and there are no commercials on this channel, nor do I get super chats. This channel is completely not monetized. Thanks, YouTube. So the only reason it survives is through support of viewers like you. And if you ever wondered what that co-producer list at the beginning of the show is, that's the people that actually donate to keep the show coming. So you will be able to watch and see it. So if you value the show and you're interested in keeping it coming, that is one very viable way of helping, is by joining the list of co-producers. Information on where to do that is at the end of the show and also in the description beneath the video, which a lot of people don't seem to know there is such a thing. Yeah, there's a description for every video on YouTube. There's a description box. It's right below the video. Just go check it out. Also, would like to thank all of the people that were on during 2021 that helped keep the show going, and the people that supported the show during 2021. Really appreciate you guys. And don't forget that if you want to help support the show in other ways, we do have a quite very extensive swag shop over at Teespring. Also, the address for that is at the end of the show. And a simple way that doesn't cost you anything to support the show is to click that like button. And if you come and drop a comment underneath the show afterwards, that helps a lot in the algorithms. It's unbelievable. And if you drop a comment and comment on somebody else's comment, oh my God, it's like superpowers are bestowed onto you or something. It's ridiculous how much that really helps. So just interacting with everything. If you can't afford to do anything, but you like the show, just interact with it afterwards, and that helps a lot too. And one of the people that's always good about doing that and is almost constantly on the co-producer list because they love the show so much is tonight's guest, and a really good Bigfoot researcher from down in the deep far south in Louisiana. Tonight's guest, welcome to the show for the first time, Kristi SciFi.
Hi, Duke.
There she is. We finally got her on the show. And man, we tried a lot of times. What is this, like try number 8 or something?
No, it's more like 100.
No, seriously, like every time we tried, there would be a technical disaster. There'd be, one of us would have a disaster. Something weird would happen. It would just be, is this ever going to happen? We're trying for like 6 months now to get on the show. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, apparently it finally worked. So here she is. And we're finally going to get the lowdown on the deep south Sasquatching with the Tsul Kalu down there in Louisiana. So welcome to the show. Hey, how did you get started in this whole thing? How long have you known about it, been interested in it, been doing anything with it?
Okay, I'm going to take you back. I'm talking about way back. I was 4 years old, and just like most people, we had the drive-in movie theaters, you know that. Good old stuff. The good old stuff that we could enjoy. My dad took us to the drive-in movie theater to go see The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Oh, good Lord. You're 4 years old? Did your dad preview this movie and know what the content was going to be like? That gave you nightmares.
It didn't. Believe me, it didn't. I was so intrigued by it, you know. The only part I did not like is when he ripped the screen off when that man was in the bathroom. And when he was walking on the porch. That creeped me out. But besides that, I enjoyed the movie, and that's how I got turned on to Sasquatch.
So you're always interested in it. Did you think at that point that it was a real thing, or did you think it was just a boogeyman on a movie?
Between the ages of 4 and 8, I thought it was real. I thought there was something out in the woods because we used to do a lot of camping when I was younger. And I was like, I wonder if there's any out here. But of course, you know, they're so elusive, you can't see them. So a lot of times we was in the Great Smoky Mountains, you know. That's where we used to go camping at.
Well, I've heard there's a few sightings from that region, so it would not at all surprise me if way back then in the olden days when it was still Indian territory and you were out there camping in covered wagons, that there might have been some Bigfoot running around up there.
You think?
Way long time ago in the dim past when you were camping there. So how long ago was that actually? It wasn't that long ago.
Oh yeah, it's been over 30 years since the last time we ever went camping. You know, I recently lost my mama too, so
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that, hon. She was a sweetheart. Back to so you were camping in the Smokies when you were a kid, and so you were kind of enthralled to this whole thing. Bigfoot might be real, might not be real. When did it come back to hey, this is real for you?
well, about 3 years ago, I decided because I was doing a lot of yeah, like most people do, look on the, look on the internet for different things about Sasquatch, and I noticed that the podcasts were coming up, and guess whose podcast I ran into?
Mm.
Why? The almighty Lord Dukester.
Who?
The-
Where?
you. I started listening to your stories, and I was like, ooh, I like these. And, you know, of course, some other ones, but we're not going to mention no names. But, you know, the real story that hit my heart was Kevin and Glag. That was like
Yeah,
the best. That was like the best story there is about a Sasquatch being connected with a human.
it's the
Uh,
best true Bigfoot story that I know of.
yes, yes, and it was great. The way you did it, the way Kevin did it. I mean, it was good in my book, baby. But anyway,
You just
so
like it because it makes all the really tough guys that listen to it cry.
no, not really. But you want a tissue?
Yeah.
No, but anyway, I enjoyed the story and I was like, wow, this is the first person I've ever heard of that actually interacted with a Sasquatch. I cannot believe this. And then I did a little bit of more research on, you know, watching stuff on TV would come on at nighttime. And of course, I sit here with my dad. And that's another thing that started it off, too, because I used to watch sci-fi movies with my dad. You know, that was a thing growing up. I was cuddled with my dad watching all these horror movies, you know, and he's sleeping. So, that's why the TV's not loud because he's sleeping.
Ah, good time to
So,
take a nap.
so I I was looking for somebody that would do something out here in Louisiana where I'm from. And I ran across one guy and he had a podcast that he was working with somebody else. And I actually sent him a message saying, "Hey, I see you live out here in Metairie or Harahan or whatever." And I said, "I see you like Sasquatch." I said, "You want to talk and, you know, we get to know each other, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Yeah." So I got to know him. And on the first expedition we went out to was up in Mississippi. Um, I found signs. Not knowing what I was doing, not knowing first time out in the woods, seen an X in between a tree. Then further along, they had these mud puddles with water. I look down and I see this huge footprint in the water. And I said, "What is that?" And he's like, "That looks like a footprint." I said, "Yeah, it does." So, you know, we couldn't measure it because it was in the water. I mean, I could tell you that the heel of that thing was like big, you know?
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, it was big. So then we said we're gonna come back and we're gonna videotape it. I said, "Okay, that sounds good with me." So a couple weeks went by, so he got his camera because he did a lot of video photography with his video. You know, he did that on the side for a living. He videoed weddings and stuff. So
Hmm.
we go back out in the same area. The X is still there. The footprint's gone.
Yeah.
So we come up to the X and he starts getting ready to touch because they had the X with a lean-to sticking outwards. So he went to go touch it, and I'm like, dude, don't touch that. He goes, oh, whatever. So he puts his hand on the stick, and he starts moving it around. And then we heard whack. I was like, did you hear that? He's like, yeah, did you hear that? And he's like, well, the wind did pick up. I'm like, dude, that was not no windbreak. That didn't break the sticks from the wind at all. That was a wood knock.
Sure is, guys. It's still there. So show them how this is stuck in the ground.
I'm not touching it. We can't touch it.
I know. Just to show. You heard that?
Yeah, I heard that.
That might have been a tree falling, but we just heard
a tree falling, honey.
we just heard a loud crash. We're hoping. So show them how this is stuck in the ground.
I'm not touching it. We can't touch it.
I know. Just to show. You heard that?
Yeah, I heard that.
That might have been a tree falling, but we just heard
a tree falling, honey.
we just heard a loud. You heard that?
Yeah, I heard that.
That might have been a tree falling, but we just heard
a tree falling, honey.
we just heard a loud crash. We're hoping this picked it up. Did you hear that?
Yeah, that was a smack.
That was clear as day. Wow.
We started walking along. We actually did a flank. We made a horseshoe than the way we did before. And I found some glyphs on the ground, like, you know, sticks like a sideways H. I found an X with another line through it. It was, you know, pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So we was getting ready to leave, and you had a guest on your show named Kat Hansen who gave out some words to talk to them. So I started, you know, saying the words. At the end of the video, I go, Nahalio, Napisu, and all that. Nothing. Then I hollered out another thing. Then you heard, whack. I was like, ooh, wow. Did you hear that? And he's like, yeah. Aishi Astema. Nahalio. Napisu. Nahalio! Estema!
Heard that? Heard that? The wind did get up though. But I did hear that crack.
Napisu!
Hawk's going nuts.
Mm-hmm. That's where it began for me, right there, 3 years ago. I was hooked.
Yeah, you go out there and you actually find evidence. It's amazing how all of a sudden it gets real interesting. The other thing is, you know, one of the I ran into you more recently when you're doing the Bigfoot Research Evidence podcast, which now sadly defunct. But you were also out in the field doing videos with another researcher too, and we can probably show some of that to people. When did all that happen? Was that with the same person you're talking about?
Yeah, that was Bigfoot Explorer. Yes.
Okay.
Scott. Yes. Yes.
So how many times did you get to go out with Bigfoot Explorer and go Bigfoot exploring?
A bunch of times. We went on several different expeditions, and we got some footprints. We got some hollers. We got some eye shine.
Nice.
I found a footprint which I forgot to bring. I should have brought it so I could have showed it to you. But sorry.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of your pictures and stuff compiled on the computer. We'll be showing everybody anyway, so no need to worry about that.
Okay. And the most funnest expedition we had is we went up to Fouke, Arkansas, the Legend of Boggy Creek.
Mm-hmm.
4 years old. So we go out there, and we had these people that owned some property that was 30 minutes away, because we were going to stay at the campground where they was having a convention at. So these people were like, no, you come stay up here with us. We got restrooms, we got showers, and we got a place for y'all to sleep. Hey, no problem. I'm not much on the primitive stuff, with ticks and all, and red bugs, because I know you don't have them up there by you, the red bugs. I know you have ticks, don't you?
Yeah, but not much of them. Other than the early spring, there really isn't any ticks up here either. The only thing you
Yeah.
really get are like big biting flies if it's a super dry year. Mosquitoes all die in the spring too.
I wish we'd be that lucky, but we're not.
Yeah, well, you live in a freaking swamp. We live on a mountaintop. Plenty of drainage. No place for mosquitoes to be.
So the expedition took us to these people, and we did a few. We was up there for like 4 nights, and we discovered some footprints. They casted the footprints, and then we was on a levee, and we sat in the darkness. There was me, Scott, Patrick's friend that was a tracker, the 2 landowners. So there was 6 of us. So we all sitting in the middle of the dark. We're hollering, clacking sticks like fools, and then we get up and we start walking down the levee. And I turn around and I seen this eye shine, and I'm tapping Patrick on his shoulder. I'm like, there's eye shine. So we turn around and everybody's looking. It was eye shine. So we come down off the levee and we came back around. Now it was like a horseshoe. The set of woods was from the levee, from the bottom of the levee to where we walked on the field. And then when we got around to that edge of the woods right there, I think it was the same Sasquatch, because he probably trailed into the forest and came out to the end, and the 2 guys were in front. Now, I was in front when we was walking on the levee, so I think the Sasquatch felt comfortable with a female. But when them 2 males approached him, they showed red eye shine, and I could see it from where I was standing in the back. So I think it got mad,
What kind of sky? This is at night. What kind of sky conditions did you have? Was there any starlight, moonlight, really dark?
It was dark. It was half of a moon, not full.
So you had a little bit of light from the sky, but not a whole lot. So you would get enough to see like eye shine.
Yes.
Or at least a glint off an eyeball. So they weren't.
Yes.
Were they lighting up like headlights, or was it just like, oh look, I shine and it's red?
No, it was lighting up. You could see it. Like two lighters,
Mm-hmm.
But then the next day after that happened to us, the next day we wound up going to a different area of the property. And now this guy owned a lot of property out there. It was beautiful. Certain areas were different. Like one area was dense with woods. Another area was kind of clear cut by the field where we saw the red eye shine. You could see through the woods. And then on the other side was like swampland. So that area was bogus to us because we didn't hear nothing or see anything. But in that wooded area we did. So me and the landowner's wife was looking for arrowheads, And as soon as I bent down, I heard something. Boop. I said, "Did you hear that? Sounds like somebody threw a rock at me." She's like, "Yeah, I heard that." So we go back looking again for arrowheads. I heard it again. Boop. I said, I picked up the rock and I said something to him. I said, "I'm throwing it back at you." So I threw it back. And I think she got kind of nervous. She said, "Let's go back to camp." I'm like, "Okay, no problem." So that same night, Patrick walks outside and he decides that he's going to get a drink out of the cooler. Well, something threw a rock at him. And he was like all scared. He come running back in the thing. "Y'all won't believe what happened." "What?" "Something threw a rock at me." It was probably trying to hit you in the head.
Trying to get your attention.
Yeah, I think so. So that was pretty much, for that trip. But it was fun,
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Now, we went to another in central Louisiana. We did a few little experiments. We did what they called sound light sound or whatever. We rigged up a tent with some lights around base camp. Just a little wait, I could show you. Like these,
Right. Yeah.
We had about 8 of them around the camp, and we was doing some wood knocking. Now there's 3 of us in this little bitty tent. I'm the littlest one. Patrick's like 6 foot something. Scott is like 5'9", big guy, And here I am sitting in the corner of the damn tent. I'm saying, "Please don't let a Sasquatch grab me. Please don't." I got my backpack on. It was freezing that night. It was cold.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting like this. Patrick's laying on his back, clacking the stick. So he says, "Let's get out. I'm getting claustrophobic." I said, "Yeah, I need to spread my legs anyway." So we got out of the tent. We kept the dirt where we wouldn't step and make noise. So he started doing his hollers. And he's like, "Kristi, do a holler." So I went, "Whoop," and then I went, "Oh," like that. Well, come to turn around, now we had a recorder that we set out too, but Scott wasn't videotaping. He set the thing down and he was just standing and looking. Well, after we did our hollers, we heard something go, "Bah, bah, bah, bah." I look at Scott. Scott looks at Patrick, and Scott said, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, "Huh?" And Patrick says, "That was a Bigfoot." And I'm standing there like in amazement, I wasn't scared. I was like, "Whoa, this is freaking cool," That was one of the highlights, that I wish we had that on recording, man. That nobody ever had that before. That is cool.
Yeah, we haven't had much in the way of audio recording either. Most of the time when they're making a sound, you're not ready to record it. And then if you whip out a recorder, you're like, "Oh, do it again, do it again, do it again." And then, of course, they won't. You could sit there for 14 hours and they won't. As soon as you turn it off, they'll do it again. But this summer we managed to catch a few of them by accident where they were making so damn much noise so regularly, it was almost impossible for them to avoid us recording some of it. And we got one where they were right across the river from us. And we were getting ready to leave and go drive back up the canyon to the valley that we usually camp in. And there was at least 2 of them on the other side of the river that were whistling to us. So we started whistling back to them and calling back and forth with them. And we got all of it recorded. You guys will see that in the upcoming episode for the September expedition.
Yeah.
Yep. That's something whistling. There's no doubt about it. That's not tree.
It's a sharp, quick whistle.
Yep.
It's not a tree. It sounds similar to what we're hearing up there at the camp, doesn't it?
Yep, it did. Yep, like what we heard this
These
morning.
motherfuckers, but maybe they followed us down the road here. Are we going to see another tree fall, man? It sure looks like it. Look at these fuckers. Oh, really? Shit. It's right down here.
Yep.
None of you guys are 80 years old.
Nope.
And out here, this air is so fresh.
It's moving around. There's more than one of them.
Doesn't seem to make any difference if the wind's blowing or not.
Yep.
Hear that? Hear the clicking in there?
I do.
When we were walking out, and I said, William, are you over there? And you said, yeah, I'm up here on the road. But I was hearing crackles and pops in the over here is what I was hearing it. Okay. But the thing's driving me crazy. It's gonna make me want to walk back in there.
It's across the river, whatever it is.
Well, we went back the next day to go retrieve everything and, you know, check to see if anything was moved or messed up. Now, the top of the tent had like a little cover that was taken off of it, you know, because we left it up there. And then what Patrick did was he dug a hole and put some flashlights in it with a radio and cleared the dirt to where you could see a footprint, but nothing was touched, you know. And of course, he set out the camera, but like anybody else knows, they're very intelligent. They watch what you're doing. They ain't gonna walk out in front of a camera, you know. People think, oh, okay, I'm gonna set up a camera, I'm gonna hide it. It's gonna walk in front of it. Yeah, okay.
No.
No.
Well, some of those. How is it? You know, what's activating the camera? If it's got some kind of an IR sensor, they can see that. So they're not going to walk in front of it. And even if they couldn't, you know, they could smell it. Some of them actually make a little bit of noise when they activate, and afterwards we've had them do tests with it where they're like throwing rocks in front of it repeatedly, apparently to see what the cycle time is on it from when it goes up until it resets. So they know how much time they've got to walk in front of it when they set it off, and it's not going to get a picture of them. William Lunsford's got some of that. I know other people that have too. Weren't you all with William?
No, I met William at the Falk expedition when we was up there.
Okay.
He walked up to me and he started talking to me. He's like, yeah, I've seen you on Bigfoot Explorer. I'm William Lunsford. I didn't know who he was. Very, very, very sweet guy, you know?
Yeah, he's super cool.
Not like people, well, I'm an expert in this field, but I sit in my chair and I do my, you know, I look up my information off the internet. I'm a armchair researcher. Get out in the damn woods and go look for them. That's a real researcher.
Well, there's some people that have problems, you know, like if you're like physically crippled, of course you can't get out in the woods, but if you've just got your ass magnetically attached to your chair, that's your fault. And there's some people that are just so damn lazy, they just, you know, they ain't gonna go out in the woods. They're too damn lazy. They haven't got they just want to run their mouths. They haven't got the inclination to actually go find any evidence to back it up or see if anything that they're saying might be valid or not. And you can tell by, you know, you look at some of these cream puffs and it's like, dude, push yourself away from the Twinkie. Get up and walk up and down the stairs once a week because you clearly need the physical exercise. You might want to get out in the field and see if any of the things that you think are valid are actually valid.
You might consider yourself a ding-dong.
Yeah. Don't be a ding-dong or look like one.
That's what I'm talking about, you know? But I would tell you this and everybody else, you have good and bad in everything. Good and bad Sasquatch, good and bad dogman, good and bad in humans, animals, whatever. It's the balance of life. So I'm going to say this one time. Sasquatch are not monsters. They're not creatures. They're not beasts. They're not its. They are a form of an ancient human being. They're ancient people.
I would tend to agree with that assessment. Everything that I've seen from them tends to point in that direction. But, you know, they keep getting a bad rap because they're not the only thing out in the woods. And there are some bad Sasquatch, and there are some bad, you know, fill in the blank, any cryptid you can think of. There's some kinds of cryptids that I think they lean toward being evil pretty much exclusively. And you shouldn't
A
trust any of them
gugwi.
ever, like a gugwi.
A gugwi.
Yep. Or
Yeah.
archons, or, some of these other negative energy entities that, they're just there to take advantage of humans or destroy them. So no, you don't want to interact with them. But everything that I've seen leads me to believe that yes, the Sasquatch are a type of ancient people, and that for the most part they're just kind of neutral and they want us to leave them the hell alone. But they're curious about us, and there's some of them that do want to know more about us, and some of them do want to interact with people, which they're apparently not really allowed to do. So that does come up. I know several people that interact with them, and to varying degrees. Robin McCrae and Leo Frank we've had on the show, several other people that have been on. Blaine Tyler, they follow him around the woods all over the place. I don't talk to him or anything other than just yell, "Hey guys." If I see something that looks like a Sasquatch and I'm not sure, I just wave and say hi while I keep walking, just to be on the safe side. But it's not like I'm sitting there having conversations with them or anything. But it sure seems like they're following me around when I'm out there because they keep showing up on camera all the time.
I know that's right. They like you.
Oh, God.
That's another thing. I got a shirt that says, "If you've never seen a Sasquatch before, that means he don't like you."
Well, I like them. I have such a blast going up there to the area where they're at, and I was just messaging back and forth with Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization, Kelly Shaw, earlier tonight. And, I mentioned since I'm in that one area so much, they've gotten so used to me being there that I don't feel like they're not going to attack me. And as long as they're around, there aren't any real bears or mountain lions or anything in the area. And in fact, we rely on that because we're in grizzly and lion country and we don't carry weapons with us. Our rationale being, well, if you got a 12-foot Sasquatch following you around the woods, there's not going to be any grizzlies or mountain lions anywhere near you. And Kelly tended to agree pretty heavily with that whole concept because he referenced a valley that they've gone into quite a few times now, and it looks like the perfect place for bears to be. And there's berry patches and water and all kinds of other things there that would, like usually there would be bears all over the place. And they've been going there for years, and they've never seen any sign of a bear in there. Bigfoot tracks, but no bears.
Exactly. So if the Sasquatch didn't like you, you wouldn't be here sitting here doing your podcast, would you?
Nope. What's a podcast? I wouldn't be doing my documentary show.
Yeah, your documentary, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell a podcast is. That's something they invented after I was doing my show. That's for those audio-only networks. Those are podcast networks because they just talk because they haven't got any evidence to show. It's the truth.
Hey, I do like your show. You're my number one researcher.
Thanks, hon. Actually, I should let everybody out there know that I'm doing more interaction with Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott over there, who is on a whole bunch of different translator stations and podcast networks, and then live streams every night on YouTube. And on Tuesday and Thursdays, I'm doing a regular segment on the show. It's about 15 minutes long, and it'll be after the 2-hour mark when the regular guest gets done with their 2-hour spot on the show. And the show runs 3 hours. And during the last hour of it, then I come on and do a little 15 or 20-minute segment. And if you missed the one on Tuesday with the premiere, it was all about Bigfoot DNA research that's been done that most of the public doesn't even know about. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, you might want to go back and check that out. And you can look forward to upcoming segments with me on there with my highly biased Bigfoot report on Spaced Out Radio twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday. So anyway, getting back to what you were doing here now, you mentioned, meeting up with William, and I just had William up here in September, and he got a chance to see how really, really different it is up here from what it's like down there where you guys are at. And the terrain down there and everything makes it really difficult to do some of the things we can do and vice versa. And then, of course, you've got bug and poison snake problems that we don't have to deal with. And you got boony pigs that we don't have to deal with. We just have to deal with, bone-crushing grizzlies and man-eating lions.
And you forgot to mention we got the meth gators.
And the meth gators. Yep. And the blood-sucking vampire manatees that live there in the
in the village,
bayous.
the village water.
In the bayous. The vampire
bayou.
manatees, yeah. Rougarou keeps getting blamed for all the vampire manatee attacks. Just kidding. Anyway, so now I know you've been out with a few other local people, because there's other people around your region, not just in your state, that do research, and you've been out and run around with a few of them too. What would you say is like the most interesting or exciting thing that's happened when you've been out there so far?
Now, when I went out on an expedition, we went to a state park called Kisatchie National Forest. And we rented up a cabin, which was really nice. And Patrick lost the key to the cabin, so we had to call the guy to come bring the key so we could get in. Now, this was 32-degree weather that we were sitting out in. We were tired. We was out there all day walking around the woods. And,
32 degrees? When the hell does it get that cold down there?
That was in central Louisiana. That wasn't down here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, they get snow up there, too, now.
Oh, yeah, it's notorious for all the dog sled races and stuff up there in northern Louisiana. But go ahead.
So he lost the key, so the guy shows up 30 minutes later. This is 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. So he brings a handful of keys. Not one of them opened the door. I was tired. I wanted to take a hot shower and wanted to go lay in a bed. So I walked around the camp, and I noticed in the bedroom where the window where I was sleeping at had a small air conditioner. 9 out of 10 times they don't lock their windows. So I said, why don't y'all go up to the window and see if the air conditioner will come out? If it opens up, I said, I'll climb through. Well, Scott was trying to get his camera so he can film me going through the window. I'm like, oh, hell no. So they pulled the air conditioner out, which was great. I jumped through that window, and the bed railing was right there, so I had to squeeze through that. Yeah, it was a rigmarole. So I get back up on the bed, and something said, lock the window, close the blinds, and put a blanket over the window. So I did that. Something was telling me that in my mind. Well, later on that night, we all took our showers, we ate something, we bullshitted for a little bit, and then we went to bed. Well, next thing you know, I felt this feeling of dread. And I felt woo 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 woo, and I'm like and I'm just laying there, and I'm like, okay. Then I start hearing this by the window. Sound like something was scratching. So Scott was on the side of me, and he's like, did you hear that? I said, yeah. I said, something's scratching outside the window. He says, oh, that's a rat. I said, no, that's not a rat, honey. Then I heard it drag its hand across the back end of the camp, like that, So I said, I'm going to fix him. When I got up the next morning, I went outside, and I got Patrick up. I said, let's go look and see. We found some footprints by the window.
What kind of footprints? Giant rat?
Yeah, giant rat footprint. That's what I told him. I said,
I was going to say at 32 degrees, it's too damn cold for it to be a meth gator, so you're running low on potential things scraping on the side of maybe it was a very robust armadillo. I don't know.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. That feeling of dread was like, bleh, I was just laying there, and I'm like, please go away. I am not dealing with you right now. So my intuition was right. I'm also a clairvoyant, too. I feel things.
Did you get the sense that it was a ill-intentioned Sasquatch, and then if it was, what made you want to put covering over a window?
I don't know what made me cover that window, but something in my mind said do it. So I don't know. I think it was. I think he wanted me to come outside. I don't know what for, but I wasn't about to go out in that cold. Mm-mm.
It's too bad he didn't actually film you climbing through the hole in the window because he might have caught you know who watching you off in the distance while the whole
I
thing was
think
going on.
I think that's why he came up to the window because he saw me climb through it,
Yeah,
and he figured I didn't lock it. But like I told you, something in my mind told me to do it.
yeah. Well, if he was decent size, he probably would have had trouble squeezing through that little hole in the. He's probably just going to reach in and grab you.
Probably so, like the Legend of Boggy Creek, but that didn't happen. I stopped it now, and I had my gun right there, but I wouldn't shoot a Sasquatch at all. You know,
Yeah.
that's not
So
what my gun. That's not what my gun's intended for.
you defused and or otherwise unboggied any potential on that situation there.
Yes, yes,
No,
yes.
no boggy creek behavior, grabbing through window stuff. No.
No, no. And also too, when I looked at the side of the house, you could see like scratch marks, like with a hand.
Like somebody with fingernails or claws or what are we talking here? How far apart were the scratches?
Probably like that.
How many finger marks were there?
They were like 3.
3. Interesting. So whatever it was had to be pretty good size. It probably wasn't just a very large rat.
Yeah, I would say so. Let me tell you, and that was the most exciting trip right there. But another time we had went out, and it was when I found my footprint. Well, we was out there at night. We did a fire. We sat down around a fire, and we heard something walking off because we was by a pond. We heard something walking off in the distance. So my friend had his car backed up, so we got up and we could hear stuff moving around. So we walked over by the car. Well, we had one walk onto the gravel road, and you could hear it kick up a rock. You know, while it was walking, it was kicking up rocks. So Patrick grabbed me and pulled me behind him because it was only like maybe 15 feet away. Because it was
crap.
right. Yeah, it was like right there. So, yeah,
So
that
did
was.
did he save you or did it get you?
No, he saved me. I don't think it was out there to harm us, but the mode that Patrick was in was off on everybody else, you know, because I was up on the side of him and he grabbed me and pulled me back, you know. But I learned to succumb all that stuff of the stuff that I've been doing by myself, you know, going out and, you know, going out to a piece of property and they have Sasquatch out there that, you know, I started leaving some honey buns, you know, and
Which apparently they like honey buns in addition to Reese's Pieces and Snicker bars.
Yes, yes, yes. But you know, everybody has their different what's the word I'm looking for? Interactions with them. And it's like the more and more I get out there, it's like the more and more it's becoming close, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're habituating to presence, which is, you know, what I think is the safest way to interact with them because there's no expectation that you're going to show up and bring them food or that you know, have some other goodie or something that's keeping their attention. They're just interacting with you because you're there a lot and they're used to you and you seem to be like they like you or you're interesting or whatever. They're, you know, they have their own reason for wanting to have any kind of interaction with you. So to whatever degree they like you or willing to put up with your presence, that's how much interaction you're going to get from them. You know, and this isn't hit and run Bigfoot research, or this is, you're going to be going into the same area for a long time, maybe years and years and years. So they get used to you to the point where they go, well, this human's not a total asshole.
Well, yeah, they've been knowing me since I was 18 because I used to go out to that piece of property when I was young.
There you go. So you've been going out there for years and years already.
Yeah.
They're used to seeing you out there. They know who you are. And that helps a lot too, because they don't, in general, you almost never hear a report of somebody just like randomly going to some place and the first time the Bigfoot step out and go, "Hey, bud." Yeah, like
How
wave
you
to 'em.
doing? Don't
How you
hug the
doing?
don't hug
Yeah,
the Wookiee.
don't hug the Wookiees. No, because it's like, first of all, like, they're not supposed to be interacting with us, and secondly, they have good reason to not interact with us because they can't trust us. I don't even trust us. Why the hell would they trust us?
Oh yeah, they don't. They don't particularly care for humans, you
Well,
know?
maybe they're smarter than we are because they got enough common sense to not trust humans. Because most humans, you can't really trust. Maybe that's their opinion.
Yeah, and they go, humans go out there, tear up their land, throw trash everywhere, and it's just, you know, you walk out in the woods and you want to experience the fresh air and just nature itself, and then you look down as uh beer cans, trash everywhere. How can you enjoy that when people don't pay attention to that, you know?
Yep. And guess what? They're watching you when you're doing that, and they're judging you for doing it, and as well they should. They're the forest police. And the other thing is, if you do the reverse, they're watching that too, and we've noticed that because we go into areas that should by all rights have no human footprint whatsoever, and you'll still find some 20, 30-year-old half rusted can half buried in the ground that some jerk left there years ago, and they're walking around too lazy to carry it out with them, just threw it on the ground. And whenever we find anything like that, we pick it up and haul it out. We haul out more trash when we leave than when we got there, because we not only haul our trash out, we haul out other people's trash. And there's been two different times when one of them happened to me, where I was walking down this hillside by myself going back to camp, and I found this really old can, reached over, pulled it out of the ground, started to throw it in my backpack, and as soon as I did, there was a wood knock from behind me further up the hill. And Michael's had that happen to him too. You pick up a piece of trash and they give you like a whoop or a wood knock or something, like, "Yay, go humans. Pick up trash."
Yeah, and that's what I can't understand. Why are we so stupid for doing stuff like that, you know? It
I know.
doesn't take an effort to put it, like you said. I usually, when I go out in the woods, I have like, a few bags with me in my school bag that I bring.
Right.
You know? It doesn't take a genius, or it doesn't take that much to put it in a bag and throw it in a trash can.
Nope.
How? But, this is the way we are. We're destructive. We're, made to tear up stuff, unfortunately,
And I think it's mostly people being thoughtless. That's one of the things about the very well brainwashed younger generation that are in favor of the whole green thing. Let's not destroy the woods, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, in general, that's great. Let's not burn down the woods. Let's not, flatten everything and make farmer fields out of it. The whole world doesn't need to be totally under control and civilized. There should be wild places for the animals to live. But, a lot of the people that have this kind of weird, fanciful fairy tale notion don't understand how to steward the wilderness either. And you can't just like leave it sit, or bad things will happen. Like flash fires will burn down everything. So you need to actually have a little bit of control of what's going on in the woods. And you have to decide, how many prey animals do you want around? How many predatory animals do you want around? Do you want to let the wolves do whatever they want to do? Well, then you're not going to have very many prey animals for hunting around. They're all going to be gone. Sorry, that's just the way it is. They'll max out to whatever limit that the environment can accommodate them. So, people have to actually do some interacting with the wilderness in order to keep it healthy. It's healthier now in some parts of the country than it was before there was really anybody living in the areas to speak of. There's more deer in North America now than there ever used to be. And that's because there's so much more food for them now than there ever used to be. They're taking advantage of not only their natural resources, but all those yummy farmer fields and stuff like that too. Oh, yum, yum, yum. Deer eat that too.
Oh, of course. Of course.
And of course, the other thing, the upshot of that is if you've got tons of deer, well, that's a food source for Sasquatch. And the Sasquatch also are going to try and, go to the limit of what the natural environment in their area can maintain food wise. So if you've got lots of deer running around for them to eat, well, then you can potentially have more Bigfoot there eating the deer.
This is true. And they are everywhere.
They sure do seem to be. I mean, they got names for them all over the world, pretty much everywhere you go. And you hear reports from, all over North America, Central America, even South America. The countries down there have names for them. And they got, other weird things like the Mapinguari, which might be some kind of a giant ground sloth, presumed to be extinct. Because you say it's got a mouth in the middle of its gut. Well, a ground sloth, that's where they have the pouch that the baby ground sloth is in. So that would be what they could potentially be talking about with that. But yeah, the, what was it, presumed to not really exist Temple of the Monkey God in Central America, which they recently found. And because of that place is like cursed or something. You can't even, you'll die if you go there. There's some weird infection in the soil that's like almost 100% fatal. If you go there, you'll get infected with it, and then you'll end up croaking right away. So they won't send any teams to do anymore. They'd have to be in vac suits to go in there and do any kind of research on it. Let's just say that way.
Let me tell you of another experience that I've had. I went to Fog for the first time. I went to go meet up with some people that we talked in the chat room. So I drove up there, and it was at the state park. I just slept one night. Well, that night, we was getting ready to go to bed. I was staying in the tent with my friend Joe, and I wound up going to bed. And I'm just laying there. I hear crunch, 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 because our tent was on the far side by the woods. And then they had another tent over here, and then we had another tent here. And one of my friends, Pat, she was looking through the window, and I had a lantern on. I didn't know how to turn the thing off. It was one of those ones that you twist. Yeah, you think I would be like, okay. I was looking for the button, so I said the hell with it. I put it down at the bottom of my feet by the front zipper. So she said that she saw a shadow walk up, then back away. Then it came up again, a little bit closer this time, and then back away. And then she said it really came up on the side of the tent where I was at. You could see the cone-shaped head. And then it backed away. So the next morning, everybody was up and, walking around. So I wake up and I'm taking pictures of me all messed up, oh, I'm in fog, yay, I get out the tent and I'm looking at the wood line. I feel like something's watching me. I happen to look up in the tree and I seen this red face looking thing. I'm like, oh shit, that's a Sasquatch. So I took my camera. I went click, click, click. I got, like 4 different views of it. And one side of its face, you could see it was looking at me. Then it turned its face. And I was like, okay, I see you're a big red ass. And that was the first encounter, like, around a tent that I had ever in my life. That was freaky, to be honest with you. That was kind of reminds me of Boggy Creek about him walking around, around on the porch. It's like, I don't want this MF stepping on my head.
Yeah, that would kind of end your camping trip. So did you? I don't remember. Did you send me those pictures?
Yes,
you got to show
did.
everybody. Okay, I'll have to go pull them out.
Yeah, you see, he's got the red face and he's like in the tree like this, and like I think I sent you all 3 shots of him turning his head. I mean, it's weird because he blends in, but he doesn't blend in with the surroundings because everything is green. Not
Except for
brown.
him.
Except for
Well, I
him.
understand. I know the feeling because that last episode I did where I was standing where Mr. Big was and we're doing the comparison shots and I'm holding my arms up and I'm holding my arms out to my side. And the one picture right above my hand, there's that face looking. Well, he took 2 or 3 pictures within 2 or 3 seconds. So it was like click, click, click. There, pictures are done. And there was no wind moving. He didn't change position, yet somehow that face is in 2 different positions, like 2 or 3 seconds apart. There's that face right above my hand in the tree behind me, watching me. And it actually moves. And there's no other explanation for it because this is only a few seconds apart. There's no wind, so there's nothing in the canopy moving. There's just like this face looking like this, and then it's looking like this, and it's right behind me.
Well, I think I said to you the one when I was walking on the levee, which is by the Mississippi River, and they got woods right there, and I happened to hear something, and I turned and look. I seen something squatting by the tree, and I'm like, "Is that what I think it is? No, that can't be a Sasquatch." Click, 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 click with my camera. Pull up the picture and start enhancing it a little bit. Sure the hell is. One was squatting. You could see his big ass shoulder. It's like hugging the tree, and he's looking at me like this. It's
Wow.
like they like the side view for some reason. It's like they're taking selfies. Let me blend myself in with the trees. What you think about me now?
Doing the profile thing.
Yeah, so yeah, I think I sent you that picture, and there was another one when I stopped at a gas station. I heard something behind because I was at the pump that was close to the wood line. I just did that on purpose just to see. I heard something like making noises, and I turn around and I look up in the tree. There's a face in the tree. Like, what? That's a Sasquatch. What the F is he doing right there? Like, are you serious?
Yes, they do weird things like that. Blaine Tyler, when he was on injured reserve list and had just got done having surgery and couldn't even walk around, decided he'd do a little recon and went down to where the local gas station is that has a little burger joint in it. And he figured, well, I'll just go sit in the parking lot behind there. There's woods all around there. And all the smell of the burgers wafting into the woods will more than likely attract anything that's down there. There could possibly be Sasquatch down there. So he's sitting down there for about 2 hours, and sure enough, here comes 2 of them through the woods, probably going up to the dumpster. And he actually got them on video. You could see through the canopy where they go passing through this open spot, So it's like, yeah, they will do weird things like that. Oh, this is the only place within 20 miles that has a burger smell coming from it. I wonder if they're going to hang around there and try and see if there's any leftovers they can get. Durr.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was like very close to the gas station. I'm saying, what the hell is he doing there?
Yeah. Well, this is the same thing. He's sitting in the parking lot behind the burger joint, and there's a woods right there at the edge of the parking lot. That's where they are.
I was thinking to myself, you need to get your hairy ass back in those woods, boy. I don't care if you're 12 feet tall or not.
You're a little too close to civilization. Somebody's going to see you.
Yeah, back the hell up to them.
That's something that comes up a lot too. People that live on the outskirts of cities or in suburbs and stuff like that, and see them at night, and they're like, "How in the hell can there be a Sasquatch here? I'm in a suburb or something." But you'd be surprised how far they'll prowl around at night. They're very fast and sneaky, and very sure of themselves that they can get away from you. Way before anybody else comes to assist you and tell you that you're not crazy and you just saw a 10-foot boogeyman. They're way gone.
Hey, like I say, expect the unexpected. They can go anywhere at any time when they want.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. They show up in really peculiar places. I remember somebody was talking about how they were walking home at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and the road they were on, and this is right in a town basically, went over a dry wash. It was, would be a river when it was super wet, but it's mostly like nothing in there. And as he's going over this bridge, he's looking on the one side, it kind of goes out of town. And here comes this huge, like 9 or 10 foot tall Sasquatch out from underneath the bridge, just walking down the wash. Like, no big deal. Right through the frickin' middle of town, basically. He's going out of town now. As the guy was walking out of the bridge, it was apparently going underneath him under the bridge. And then he saw it as it came out on the far side and was walking away. Like, what the hell am I looking at?
I'm telling you, they're fascinating. It's just like how we are curious about how they're curious about us. We're curious about them. It'd be cool to be in Kevin's shoes.
Well, Kevin had quite the amazing adventures, but that was a little bit different too. That wasn't so much like an interaction based on habituation or something. It was like Glag didn't have anybody else at all. His whole family was dead, apparently. And then, Kevin basically became his adopted family. So that was a lot different thing than, and I'm sure that wasn't within the rules of the Sasquatch Society for Sasquatch be hanging around with human. That's probably, one of the reasons he had some of the problems that he did later on. And, again, like Rich Soul has pointed out, if it would have been a female Sasquatch, any group that they would have run into would have taken her in immediately. But since it was a male and that's potential threat in the future, that may have been one of the reasons that none of the groups wanted to take him in that were local there to where he was. And then also that he was hanging around with a human, which was also like a no-no. So, until he got big enough to whip their asses, they wouldn't put up with him, basically.
Yeah. It was my favorite part of the story when Kevin got pulled up in the tree with Glag, and he looked at Kevin, he goes, hide, hide, hide.
Yeah.
And
first he said gun. Kevin said, I got my gun. Gun, hide, hide.
Hide, hide.
Yeah.
I thought that was intriguing, It was like, wow. And then he pulled Kevin's arm out of the socket doing it.
Yeah, accidentally.
Yeah, he didn't mean to.
No, didn't make it easy for Kevin to climb back down the tree, though.
Yeah, I can imagine with one arm.
Arm, yeah.
And he was like 50 feet up in the tree, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then when he did get down, he had to make it back out of the mountains again on his motorbike with one messed up arm.
Yeah.
So that was, generally really bad time. But anyway, we've hit the 1 hour mark. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up before we bring the show to a close?
No, I appreciate you for having me on the show and doing what you do best. I enjoy all your videos when I do get a chance to watch them.
Yeah, I know. You're pretty busy. Everybody is, though. I appreciate that, and I always appreciate your ongoing support, keeping the channel going, too. You end up on the producer list here pretty regularly. And again, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, anybody can get their name on the producer list. Just start and become a co-producer of the show. Donate to the designated address at the end of the show in the final credits or in the description box at the very bottom. Very easy to find.
Yes, help support Duke, please. Good show, good researchers with real valid evidence.
And that's the whole idea. Talk is cheap. Let's show the actual frickin' evidence. And apparently, some platforms don't like that, so they demonetize you, and then they promote all the BS creepypasta channels. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for being a supporter of the show. Thanks for getting out there and actually putting boots on the ground and checking it out for yourself and finding out that, oh, yeah, it's real. Oh, boy, is it real. And, I encourage the rest of you, too. If you got any doubts, get your butt out in the field. Go out there in the woods. See what you can find. Operation Go Take a Peek.
Well, hopefully Duke in the future I'll get a better camera and have more evidence.
Yeah, well, you're getting to the point now where they actually will get close to you when you're out in the woods, so it's a good time to have a decent camera. You will start getting some decent shots of them.
Yeah, I need to get up there by you.
Yep, you need to come up this summer too. And the other thing is, I've already heard, some audio stuff that you've gotten down there too, and there's plenty of audio stuff to be got. So it's worth it having decent audio recorder around.
Yes, yes.
They're more vocal down there than they are up here. Up here, they're pretty quiet most of the time.
I could get them to holler.
Yeah. Well, when William was here, they were pretty loud. They were making noise the whole damn time he was up here. It was like maybe they decided it would be funny to scare him or something, so they just make noise the whole time. I don't know. And
Well,
it did work.
At least they didn't get zapped, unlike some people
No.
that I done told you.
Yeah, somebody earlier this year that unfortunately got zapped. No, William didn't get zapped. He just got half frozen and wore out from hiking around at high altitude.
Yes, indeed.
Get kind of cold up here. The one night he was up here, he slept in the car, and he woke up in the morning. It was snowing on the car. So there you go.
What?
Yeah. What do you mean? What? It could snow
What?
there. It could snow there in the middle of July at night. Doesn't make any difference. Generally gets down to like in the 20s.
Oh my God! I had to bring me an Eskimo suit just to come up there.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, when Erin was here in the midsummer, if you remember her talking about it, she's a Montana girl that's used to camping in the mountains. And she said, I could not believe how cold that campsite was at night. The second night I was there, I had to take my mittens and put them on my feet because my feet kept freezing. And she's got all the gear. She's ready to camp in weather like that. Same with Papa Craig. He does mountain camping and hunting all the time. And he was like, I can't believe how cold that site gets early in the morning. Oh, my God. Yeah, it does. It could be 85 in the afternoon, but it's still probably going to be 20 at 4 in the morning.
And here you are sleeping in shorts with no socks on your feet. You probably get up in the morning and go drink a cup of coffee and have a cigarette with no shoes on out there.
Yeah, pretty much. No, the other guys up here are even worse than that. Mike and some of those guys show up and it's like 30 degrees and they don't even have a jacket on. They're still sitting there with a T-shirt for about an hour. Well, I better put a jacket on. It might get colder. Yeah. It's already cold enough for the ice to start freezing on everything. You still don't have a jacket on. You know, the locals up here can even take more cold than I can, which is amazing. But, they're truly cold resistant. I guess it comes with living in the mountains your whole life.
Yeah.
I used to be more cold resistant when I was younger, and I lived in northern Minnesota, and I was used to, 20, 30 below. Blah. But I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Well, I don't have no meat on my bones. I'm skinny, so I have no fat to keep me warm.
Well, I haven't got my thick layer of armor muscle that I used to have either, and that, helps keep you warm too. Yeah. I'm just a little stick man now. Just a puny little waif. I'm not huge monster anymore.
Oh, yes, indeed.
And so, like Arnold, who used to look fabulous, now he just looks flabulous.
Oh, yeah, by the way, thank you for my gift.
Oh, yeah, you got to show everybody. This is the little Christmas ornament I made for her. You see there's the little Sasquatch hiding behind the trees, and he's got a snowball in his hand. Just go a little bit to the side. You're a little bit too far off the camera, the other way. Yeah, you can kind of almost see him. There you go. And see, he's got one handful of snow, and you're looking between the trees, and he's going to pelt somebody with a snowball. And you got snow all over him, too. You see him with the snowball in his hand there? And he's looking between the trees. There you go. Now you can see it.
You can see it?
Yeah. So from the other side, when you guys are looking at it, it's hanging on the tree. You can kind of see in between.
Kind to everyone. Safety first, last, and always. Pay it forward. Don't be mean to people if you don't have to be. Don't flip off the mountain giant. Don't poke Dogman with a stick. Don't punt the puck, would you? And for God's sake, whatever you do, do not hug the Wookiee.